Hey y'all, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling? I hope all is well with you. Today we're coming with another story time. This young lady is telling her story of dealing with a narc. Whew, child, there's a lot of those out here today. But before we get into it, please take this time to like and subscribe to this channel. Hit that post notification bell so you're notified whenever I drop a video. And know that all things on this channel are alleged, in my opinion. It is for entertainment purposes and commentary purposes only. All right. So now that we got the logistics out of the way, we are going to listen to this young lady's story and hear what she had to say.
So, we're back. Let's talk about narcissism. I'm going to try to breeze through this. Well, not the story parts, just breeze through the precursor to all of this because honestly, it really doesn't matter to me right now. And I don't want to take up too much time talking about childhood stuff and just, early development years and just all of that. I will say though, narcissism does start, people who are affected by narcissism, let me say it that way. It starts somewhere in childhood. I'll say maybe it's from a parent or maybe it's from a guardian or someone that you were around. I know that's how it was for me. And then seeds get planted, and as you grow up, it just kind of develops into you're just attracting these familiar people all the time. I like to say, same demon, different body. That's what it is. That's what narcissists are. Like if you keep attracting the same thing, it's the same spirit, it's the same demon that's just using different bodies to try to get to you, keep you oppressed and suppressed and all of that. Anyway, so I grew up as a people pleaser.
She ain't
I grew up
lying.
as a bragging right when a lot of the times my emotional needs were not met. Um, but I was also incredibly set apart. And that's just naturally how God made me. And I think that made me a target for narcissists, not just having covert narcissistic abuse as a background, but literally just being who God called you to be attracts these demons. Like they can spot you from early on. Like if you've had spirits trying to take you out ever since you stepped foot on this earth, baby, you got a purpose for real. And it is a big one. Let me just say that.
She ain't lying
I
there.
dealt with the narcissist through
She
part
is
of middle
not
school,
lying.
going throughout high school. That story is really not worth telling though, because those are still developmental years. And now, as an adult, and now that I've educated myself, I can identify that now and be like, oh, hey, he was kind of a narcissist. And that's why your mom liked him so much, anyways. But I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about the big dogs that came into my life after that. Okay. So in 2017, I moved out of my hometown. I moved to a different state to finish my college degree, to finish my degree in music. And when I first got there, of course, different environment, different people, nobody knows you, very different. I met this guy. And I was so green because my mama, she really didn't teach me much of nothing, for real. And so when I met this guy, he was love bombing me like crazy. Now I can identify it as love bombing. Back then, I just thought, oh, he really likes me, like green. It was like, for example, like I would be like 50 yards away and going in that direction, and he would like go run and get the door and hold it open until I got there. Completely extra for no reason, but that was just like one of the grandiose, unnecessary things that he would be doing. Love bombing, right? Yeah, he would do a lot of unnecessary stuff, and I can't really pinpoint when we started talking, but we did. Um, Obviously the conversations were so good in the beginning, like, oh, look at us, we're trauma bonding. Horrible, very horrible. But obviously he won me because I was just like, oh my gosh, can't stop thinking about him. Oh my gosh, he likes me so much. No, not at all. So when I finally became attached due to my deficiencies, my self-esteem wasn't really that high. And again, I was really green on a lot of things. That just makes you easy prey and an easy target for narcissism, for a narcissist, right? When I became attached, that's when the breadcrumbing started, and that's when the stonewalling started. So if you don't know what stonewalling is, it's when somebody, first of all, in the beginning, they give you all of this love and affection and attention and all of this stuff. That's the love bombing. Stonewalling comes when they just immediately just retract it, or the breadcrumbing. They just give you some, then take it back, and then you don't hear from them. They give you
That's
some. Maybe they
crazy.
called you twice a day. Now they're only going to call you once. Maybe they text you all throughout the day. Maybe they only text you at night now. Stuff like that. And
That's
again, I didn't know these
crazy.
terms back then, but when I began to pick up on that back then, I was just kind of like, I don't really like this. I don't like how this is making me feel. It's confusing. Spirit of confusion is now entering the chat. I feel
I love that she did that. First off, I never heard of breadcrumbing before. Uh, love bombing, yeah, I heard that before, but breadcrumbing, this is my first time hearing that term. And it makes so much sense. They give you a little and then they take it away. They give you a little and then they take it away. So, I like how she just ended it though. Right before I paused and she said, "Spirit of confusion has entered the chat." Cuz what we don't realize is when you're dealing with some, like, when you're dealing, okay, for her, for instance, her situation, she's dealing with a narc. We're just thinking like, oh, she's dealing with a narc, he's love bombing, he's doing this, he's doing that. But it's also allowing all types of other demons into the equation. The spirit of confusion, we know God is not the author of confusion. So you know what I'm saying, like it just starts creating all of these ups and downs. The anxiety will be attached to that because now it's like, is he going to call me? Is he not going to call me? Did I do something wrong? What's wrong with me? Did you know what I'm saying? Like it starts bringing in all these other things that you probably never had or dealt with prior to. That's crazy. I never thought of it like that. I like that she said that.
I feel rejected. Spirit of rejection is now
Yeah.
entering the chat. Okay.
Wow.
I just didn't like how he was making me feel because I felt like I was always there. I always wanted to talk to him. I always wanted to be around him. I just felt like he was starting to make me feel like I was being a burden by his retraction.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were times where I would bring it up, and then that's when his sob stories would happen, like, "Oh well, I had a crappy mom, rejection, all of that stuff." Pretty much, you know how they are. If you know, you know. They'll give you their whole crybaby backstory to make you feel bad, so that they can now be the victim. So now you can coddle them,
Oh my
and so it
gosh.
started becoming a cycle.
Oh, that's literally what they do. That's literally what they do. Woe is me. My mother wasn't there, or my mother didn't care for me. My dad didn't care for me, or my dad wasn't there. This happened as a child, that happened. Oh, this, that, and the other. So now you're walking on eggshells because you don't want to hurt that person's feelings because of, oh, I've been through this and I've been through that. And they'll throw that in your face like, oh, you see, you're just like my mom, or you're just like my dad, or you're just like my auntie, or whoever it was that they claim traumatized them. They'll turn around and try to put you in that category. So now you're walking on eggshells, afraid to even breathe because you don't want to seem like the person or persons that did them wrong. Insane. Utterly insane. Okay, let's keep going.
To the point where I was like, "Hey, I'm out. I don't want nothing to do with this." Because even though I was green, I was pretty smart, and I had a lot going for myself in college. Let me tell you, which is all the more reason for him to try to humble me. Because that's another thing. Narcissists love to try to humble you. But then he would try to drag me back into that cycle with the love bombing and the breadcrumbing and, "Oh, let's have a conversation about it," or just stupid stuff like that. And it worked on me because I was green, like I said. So now we're in the cycle of love bomb, breadcrumb, stonewall. Try to leave. Well, I'm not ready to discard you yet. Love bomb, breadcrumb, stonewall. You get what I'm saying? And nobody really knew this was going on because, again, I had my own representative to uphold. Again, I was a campus leader. I really had a lot going for myself that I just didn't want anybody really in my business. And he was also somebody who people thought he was so great, and just, he had built a great representative for himself to where people really didn't think that he could do wrong. And behind the scenes, doing all the wrong.
Ain't that how it be?
It was hilarious.
Listen, so for those of you who know, but for those who don't, if you're new here, I come from a sector called, well, we covered a show. I covered a show called Love and Marriage Huntsville. And the lead couple, I would say, the star couple, ended up getting a divorce after midway through season 2. And he exhibits a lot of traits of a narcissist, right? And I would even say all of the things that she's saying is exactly how he acts. Like, to the T. That's almost scary. Wait a minute. Let's go back a second. Cause I want to pinpoint something she said.
Had built a great representative for himself to where people really didn't think that he could do wrong, and behind the scenes doing all the wrong.
So we know those of you guys who are in that sector, his name is Martell Holt, and he portrayed himself to be a doting dad, a great husband, a businessman, all of this stuff, all the while to find out that he was the worst, the bottom of the bottom, threatened his now ex-wife with revenge with his side chick, had a baby on her, still try to blame her for the breakup, the demise of the relationship. And it's just like all of the things, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but all of the things that he exhibits, all of the things that he does is exactly what she's listing. I just want to put that out there.
And what's hilarious is during this time, he never wanted to claim me. I would ask, like, what are we? Are we together? Are we not? He would just say that he liked me. And I'm just like, we're sleeping together. We're doing all the things that a couple should be doing. Well, I don't even want to say all the things because honestly, he really didn't plan dates. He didn't do anything. Like he was really a piss poor person. But I would be like, okay, what are we doing? Are we together? Are we not together? And he would just be like, change the subject or stop talking about it or just get silent because he didn't really want to address that. But the cycle was really starting to burn me out. My skin was horrible. My hair was falling out. It was like the stress of school on top of the stress of what this man is doing to me. And what's crazy is that I think that he enjoyed seeing that, like whatever downfall that he was hoping that he would see is why he kept trying to reel me in. Is why he didn't want to discard me. Because he's like, I actually want to see this through. I actually want to see you fail. I remember one particular time we were in bed sleeping, and I'll never forget this because it actually scared me. We were in bed sleeping, and he rolls over and starts choking me. Now, like I said, we were sleeping together, so I'm redeemed now in the name of Jesus. But that's what, we were sleeping together and stuff. So it wasn't that kind of choke though, because he was squeezing hard around my neck. Like I'm smiling telling this, but that's traumatizing. Yeah, he started choking me to the point where I was like, okay, stop, like trying to pry his hand off of me. And then finally he let go, and then we just never really spoke about that.
That's crazy. That would scare the life out of me. Like, were you trying to unalive me? How do I know next time you like won't go all the way? Ooh, baby. That's scary. That is insane.
Which was really crazy, really weird, scary. His body temperature was always elevated too, like that of a demon. That's just what I'm gonna say. Like it was just weird how he was always, and he would just be like, "Oh well, I used to be fat. No, I'm not fat, and so I sweat easily, and I used to be hot." Okay, I don't have that much time left, so I'm just gonna say for the next video, it's gonna be part two of how the Book of Nehemiah saved my life. I truly believe. So stay tuned. Part two of my experiences with narcissism. So during this time, I was really getting tired of being mentally abused, emotionally abused, all of that. Like everyone has a breaking point. And so I was really clinging to God during this time. Like I was really in my word. I did have a couple of friends that they didn't know at the time, but they were really saving grace for me. Like They didn't know all of this stuff that I was going through. I would tell them surface level stuff and try not to make it a big deal. But the depth of this stuff, like emotions depleted,
Mm,
mentally depleted. The only way I got through college was God. Let me just say that. Like, thank you, Jesus.
I
Throughout
know
my
that's
college, he
right.
always made carrying my burdens look so easy. Like I get told that now. Oh, you don't look like you're really going through something. If you only knew.
Right.
I don't know. Which made it harder to try to talk to somebody if I wanted to, because they would just be like, "You got it. You strong. You can do it." You know.
She's right about that. I think a lot of times when people that are usually strong or have it or make it look easy or always look like they're put together, if they try to, express what they're going through, I don't feel like they get the same level of sympathy that somebody else that may seem weaker or maybe just always complains get, because they figure like she just said, you'll figure it out, you got this, you'll figure a way. And it's just like sometimes you got to check on your strong friends. That's all.
But really, one of the truest breaking points I had with this person was I remember there was this whole spring break fiasco. He left, he didn't say nothing. And I remember because I was trying to come over and he was lying, saying I couldn't come over because he had something to do. He all the way in somewhere else. I can't even remember the name of the place where they would go, but not even at home. And so I just was done with the lying and all of that stuff. Wrote a song about it. Was trying to be done again. He tried to pull me back into that cycle. This time though, I was just like, no, I actually don't want to be in this cycle.
Yeah, they stay trying to keep you in the
Can't really
cycle.
remember how, can't remember when. I think that's the great thing about growth is that some things are good to forget, some things I just can't remember, and I just be like, thank you, Lord. Can't remember or pinpoint the time when we finally stopped talking. This was during college. I remember the final time we stopped talking, but I'm talking about in the midst, like in college. When I finally just broke away and was just like, yeah, I want to start talking to different people, doing different things. I don't actually want to be miserable with you. And I did. Like, he never appreciated virtually anything that I did for him. And I was like trying to do all kind of cute stuff, loving stuff, just really trying to make somebody stay around and be with me that really hated me.
That's the crazy part about it. We be fighting for someone who really don't even be for us. Low key be our worst enemy sometimes. Um, but they, I feel like they never be appreciative because they have this sense of entitlement, as if like, yeah, you should be doing this stuff for me because I've been through what I went through or whatever the case may be.
I remember this one time I took us out to eat. This is just a random, this is an example. And he had an attitude the whole time. Like he didn't want to be there. He wasn't talking to me. I was trying to spark conversation. He would just give me these dry, short answers or just not say anything, just eat his food. And I was just like, what am I doing? And so fast forward past graduation, all life, all of that. I graduated in 2020, so yeah, all of that. Didn't get to walk, all of that. But I remember myself going through these withdrawals, like these separation withdrawals from him. And that's nothing but trauma. Like, so I would periodically reach out to him just to check in because I missed him, but I think I really missed being mistreated because it was still attention. And I know that sounds very sad, but it was like I wanted that false version of attention that he was giving me. The breadcrumbs, right? So I reach out periodically. We would talk for a little bit, and it just wasn't. It really wasn't hitting, and I'm gonna tell y'all why it wasn't hitting. Because I was going through the very peak beginning of my wilderness season with God. So I left out a chunk. Me and him were still kind of talking that 2020 period. We went out to lunch or something just to talk and all of that stuff. And he was, like he was changed and stuff. And I was trying to make it seem like, okay, well, I'm not really worried about you, but actually I want you back type of thing. And so there was that. And then we had a period where we stopped talking again. And then when I moved back by myself, me and my sister were roommates, and then I moved back by myself. This was like 2021, going into 2022 or something. Peak going through my wilderness. Like he was giving me lefts and rights because he's like, enough. Like, that's a whole nother story time. But I was reaching out to him sometimes and we were talking a little bit. But then there was this one random evening. I was reading the Bible. God had me in the book of Nehemiah because he had just revealed to me different things that he wanted me to start doing and building and stuff. And so what better way than to, introduce that through the book of Nehemiah. And so
I've
I was
always
reading
loved
the
the
book of
name
Nehemiah.
Nehemiah.
If you haven't read Nehemiah, it's a great book. God is unctioning Nehemiah to rebuild the wall in Jerusalem. It's a great read. Read it. However, I was reading Nehemiah 6
I
during this time
agree.
when he reached out to me. Can't really remember how he did it. This is verbatim. Hey, he asked to meet up. And it was really random because I hadn't seen him probably in like a year or two. And so I had the most gut-wrenching feeling in my stomach. Like, it was scary how it felt. Like when he asked to see me, like asked to meet up.
That demon didn't want to let go. She hadn't spoken to him in a year, and he's coming back around. Yeah, he came to do some more trauma if he could.
And I had to pull my Bible out for this part because I really want y'all to know the verses that God had me read immediately. Like as soon as I had this, and it was nothing but a warning from the Holy Spirit. That's why I felt like that. Like I felt sick. And then I immediately read this, and it was nothing but God. This is Nehemiah 6, verse 2. Sanballat and Geshem sent me this message. Come, let us meet together in one of the villages on the plain of Ono. But they were scheming to harm me. And if you read in the story, these two people, Sanballat and Geshem, they are devious. They're trying to stop the work of Nehemiah. So they keep trying to meet him so they could harm him and stop the work that he's doing. And so when God gave me that in that moment, I could not ignore the fact that God was really trying to save my life. I don't know if this man wanted to meet up and actually bring harm to me. Again, we had that encounter, like I said, when we were in the bed. I don't know what kind of thoughts that he had been thinking towards me. Heck, even was thinking towards me when we were together. I feel like he hated me, right? So I don't know if he was planning to harm me or if God just severely did not want me to get back into that cycle because that was going to undo a lot of the work that he and I was doing. Either way, scared the living daylights out of me. I said, nope, done. I remember we had a couple more conversations after that. Nothing in person. Like that was a wrap. But we had a couple more conversations after that. And through those times when we were having conversations, it was video calls. God was just showing me like how oppressed this person was. Like whatever they've done, that's between them and God. He would never tell me anything really. He would never be honest about a lot of things. But I could just see the oppression. Like as I was growing closer to Christ and really getting delivered from all of the stuff that was on me, to see it, I was just like, whoa, like there's a lot going on, to the point to where I tried to become a help at a certain point. But even then God was like, no, you don't need to be a part of this person's life at all anymore. Like stop talking to him. But I was going through my healing process, and through that process, I don't know. I was just really, I don't know. I do remember our final video call encounter, and he started manifesting on screen. I can't remember. I think we started talking about Jesus. He was asking me to help him with something, and he was upset because he's like, "Why can't you help me?" It was like a business something. I can't even remember. And
anything
he just started getting upset
reel
with me,
you back in,
and he started manifesting. Because I think I told him, I was like, "You need deliverance from something." I said something, and he started manifesting. And then the last thing I said, "What else do you want from me?" And then that was the end of that. He hung up on me, and I have not spoken to him since. Don't know what he's doing. Don't care to know.
Exactly.
Hopefully getting Jesus and getting delivered. Praise God. But Yeah, manifesting on screen. So let me just real quick. Started manifesting like he said, I'm getting hot. I'm starting like sweating. And like he just had this look on his face like hate, like hatred. It's a lot. Anyways, part three coming. I'm sorry, I'm really trying to breeze through this because I don't want these to be lengthy and take up the whole 10 minutes, even though this one kind of is, but part three is coming. So this is part three of my experience with narcissists. Let me just say, every time there's a breakthrough, there's an attack directly after it. My goodness. The amount of fatigue that I've experienced since posting those videos, I thank God, first of all, for the reach and that so many people can relate. The fatigue though, I'm like, Satan was working overtime. He hates to be exposed, right? So he was working overtime fatigue. Like this was a different kind of fatigue. Like I can't even explain it. Like, oof. But we here getting part three out. This is going to be dealing with narcissism in the workplace and pretty much every job that I've had, minus my first one, because you know that's your first job. He's shown me that he sends me places on assignment, but it's either to observe the place or to expose. So either I'm going in, observing, because maybe I need to learn something from someone, or just learn something about the company that I'm working for, or just there so he can show me something, or to expose injustice. It's either one of the two, nothing in between. I will give you a most recent story that I've endured at a workplace. Part of me wants to be vague, but then the other part is just like, who cares? Because I always say that because I know that I'm monitored. I know that these people watch me more than I care to know, honestly. And I still need to tell my story though, because I know a lot of people have gone through this at work or actively going through this at work, and it just needs to be told. So, yeah. And I just want to add that this is a story of narcissism, but the depth of it is really a severely heavy spirit of Jezebel that is the root of all of these issues. So, long story short, started a new job. Hindsight tells me now that I was heavily love bombed upon coming in. Like, I mean, you would think that these people have never seen a cool person before or just a genuine person before. Severely love bombed. Let me just say that. Not even a month in, I'm immediately targeted by this one man that works there. And I'm using my words intentionally because I'm using hindsight words because now everything is clear and I know exactly what it was. Like, I feel like this was a whole plan. I will also add there was a woman supervisor there, whatever she was, I don't know. I feel like the spirits in her targeted me. I feel like it was like 75-25 with her. Like 75%, you got some spirits that you need deliverance from, and 25%, you actually can be cool. But I feel like she was targeting me as well. I'm about to explain why. So this man married 6 kids. You're going above and beyond trying to beat up my back. And at first, I didn't see any immediate agenda there because we had a few conversations about common interests like music. And when I let people know what I do, they become so interested. They're like, oh, music production. And especially if they do music too, they're like, oh, automatic collaboration mindset. But mind you, this man is like close to my dad's age. You're married and you have 6 kids. Keep that in mind. And so by this time, I'm cool at work. I'm starting to develop work relationships with people. With one of them, it was a deeper relationship because I thought she was cool. Later on in the story, y'all gonna find out that she wasn't ever cool. But yeah. And so long story short, to keep this video not to be incredibly long, he starts liking me. And it's very obvious by certain things that he's saying to me. Like some of the stuff, absolutely ridiculous. I don't even know if I should say it in this video. I might say 1 or 2 things, but some stuff you should never say as a married man with 6 kids. And he almost my dad's age. He was always complimenting me on my beauty. One time he complimented me on my body. Um, he told me that he loved me a few times, which these are just things that you should never. And he was saying this stuff with passion too. And like if I would agree and would have said yeah, he would have risked it all, which I feel like is very crazy. It even got to a point to where he was trying to formulate a plan to leave his wife. And mind you, a lot of the times I wouldn't say a lot back. I would just be listening, because there was a point in time where I was starting to realize, okay, Lord, this is not observance, this is exposure. And I really need to listen. I just need to listen. One gift that I'm so blessed by God to have is listening. I'm an avid listener. I will listen to everything you say. Everything you say. A lot of the times, people don't realize that they're word vomiting around me. Because I'm just quiet, I'm listening. I'm not in my head, I'm looking. I'm kind of like, okay. Yeah, they don't realize that. But yeah, listening. He will be telling me weird stuff like him and his kids watch my music videos at home a lot and they really like it and stuff. And his wife really didn't like that. And I would blatantly tell him, take me out of your household. I don't know why you're doing that. I don't know what the point of that is. Take me out of your household. Like, that's weird. It was like this one-sided infatuation that was taking place. But God was using me as a chess piece to expose more, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, I reached the final point, long story short, to where a situation occurred where he was talking to me to see what I thought or get my thoughts about him ever meeting my dad. And when I tell y'all, I was like, and I'm using better words now, I said, my dad will beat your blank. And I pulled out a calculator and I calculated the age difference. And I was like, are you out of your mind? But on top of that, you're married and you have 6 kids.
Right, like what I want with you.
People are mental. So, 2 counts. I brought it to my supervisor's attention the first time. Well, I thought she was my supervisor at the time. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Brought it to her attention. I said, hey, I really need to talk to you. And she comes and goes, so it's not like she's always there for me to have a sit down. But it wasn't a text message. It wasn't a call. I need to sit down and I need to talk to you. So, oh yeah, okay, we'll talk. I'll let you know next time I'm here. Da 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 da. Cool. Didn't happen though. So the second time, I was like, hey, I need to talk to you. Because, I mean, it's what's really raggedy is that this place they have an HR department. So let me just say that. I know typically people in the world of work say, well, HR, they're not for you, they're for the company. I get that. But if you're having a situation like this, who are you going to talk to?
Right.
I'm going to talk to my supervisor or somebody that's appointed over me so they can handle this situation. So
I've never heard of a company not having an HR. And I'm not saying it's not possible. That's just crazy to me because I've just never heard that before. I didn't think that was possible. I thought jobs, it was mandatory that they had an HR, but maybe I'm tripping. I don't know.
finally talked to her, spilled all the beans, told her everything. And one comment she made that really threw me or blew me. She was like, and this was like towards the beginning. She was thinking like towards the beginning, she was like, I was just starting to think like, yeah, I think so-and-so really likes her. Da-da-da. So this is something that you saw and that you peeped, but you didn't say anything. That's very weird. I'm going to tell y'all the aftermath in video 2. But the conclusion to this was we had a conversation. She said that she would handle it. So pretty much she was just like, don't worry about it. You want to figure it out. She talked to CEO or whoever. I don't know. Because I say I don't know, y'all, because the aftermath of everything really warped my mind and was like, what actually happened? What did you actually say? Who actually are you? Like, are you an agent of Satan? Anyways, That's what she said she would do. She said she would talk to him, and
Not an agent of
I
Satan,
trusted her.
too.
And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that I made,
That's
was to
crazy.
trust her to handle the situation, because it didn't get handled the way it was supposed to. Part two coming like now. At the end of that other video, I said part two. I meant to say part three, because this is going to be part four. So this is a continuation of the story that I was just telling. Um, Narcissists in the workplace. Yeah. So before I dive back into the continuation of the story, let me just say that this woman supervisor, real cool with this guy. Actually, it was kind of weird how cool they were. Like, I don't know, maybe something was partaking behind the scenes. I'm just saying. So I trusted her to handle the situation. By this time, months go by. Like, literally, technically, a whole year went by before an actual investigation was conducted. But
Whoa, whoa,
within those
whoa. A
months,
year? Did she just say a year went by before an actual investigation happened? So you were still having to deal with this for another year? That's mad unprofessional.
people still trying to act cool. First of all, I had separated myself from Mr. K, because
Mm-hmm.
you go too far, you just can't be cool. Sometimes I just want people to just be cool. You don't got to do all that extra. You don't have to. I like to say Satan tries to meet me everywhere I go, because he's just trying to thwart me off of the path that God has for me. But with like
Mm-hmm.
just people being willing vessels of Him, I'm just like, bro, just be cool. Like, this is work. Can we just be cool at work? No, we have to be. Now I have to do a SH claim on you. You know, like, anyway, everybody was trying to act like cool. Like, I didn't report this to you. You know, she was on one end still trying to be cool with me, but still up his back, still cool. And I would be looking at her like, actually, that's weird behavior, because if I brought this to you, this kind of claim to you, and you're not really taking it serious, you're still trying to kiki in people's face and be cool with them, I don't want no parts. I'm cool on you. But there were times where periodically I would bring it back up to her and be like, hey, is anything going to happen with this? You know? But she would just put it back on me. Like, one time she did say, I think it's best if you just write everything down, write the encounter down, and then we go from there. What is writing it down? What effect, what difference is that going to make? Just the way my head was thinking. What difference is that going to make when I literally had to sit down and talk to you about this one on one?
I actually think it's a good idea to write it down, or to have, like, how she was checking in on her about it sporadically. I think she should have did that via text and or email, because now you got a paper trail that you have been checking and asking on an update, and it's been a year, versus not, actually having it down. Now it's your word against hers, and she could say, oh no, you wanted to meet she wanted to meet with me because she wanted to change her hours, or whatever. Especially since this company doesn't have an HR, I don't know how moral these people are, considering she knew what was going on and kept it quiet while it was happening prior to you saying something, and then after you said something she's still playing nice, trying to play nice with both of y'all. Not to mention, I don't even think or would consider it her playing nice. There's just a lot of male identified people out here who will make excuses for the messed up stuff that men do sometimes, and will turn a blind eye to it. And especially if you're saying that she possibly had some type of outside relationship with him, that could be another driving force. Although I would probably think she would be more jealous than willing to let it happen, unless she's just tapped too. Who knows? You never know who you're dealing with nowadays. People in this world are all jacked up.
What difference is that going to make? That, because I'm telling you, the person who's supposed to make this happen, you hire and you fire. So what are you going to do? But I think in her head, she didn't want to lose her friend or boyfriend. And I know that sounds like a butthole statement, but like I said, I don't know what kind of relationship they had behind the scenes. But when I would observe them sometimes, I would be like, What's that? And I'm really not trying to make this long and drawn out because all of these details is literally 2 years worth of stuff. So I'm trying to condense it. But I will say, throughout those months, where there was silence or where there was avoidance to talk about it or where there was like, let's just put this under the rug, even though she said, I don't want this to be a situation to put under the rug. But it literally was put under the rug for months, like for real. Throughout all of that, I sensed sabotage. And I'm about to explain why. So this is the lady that I actually did begin to develop a deep connection with. We would have conversations. When I tell you she really would be word vomiting around me, she would word vomit around me like the comfortability was high. Let's just say that. And when it came to this particular man that we're talking about, she would have a lot of stuff to say about him and his family. Let's just say that none of it was nice. It came to a point one time in text messages where old boy started having some issues with his son, like medical issues, and she thought it was justice from God. And I was like, first of all, you're demented, because why would you say that about a kid? But on the other hand, trying to be buddy-buddy with this person because deep down inside, she really did not like me. Like I said, hindsight is showing me the bigger picture. I don't even believe this woman liked me from the beginning. I'm gonna explain why.
That's crazy.
Whatever they had going on, whether it be a friendship they were developing, I'm talking about supervisor and oh boy that I had to file a claim on. Whatever they had going on, she allowed that to cloud her best judgment with a lot of things. I don't think this was a coincidence at all. After I had filed that claim and I told her about this stuff, it was not even 2 months later that this man was promoted.
What?
Yeah, you heard me right. And the justification was because I said something about it. Because one thing I am going to always open my mouth about is injustice. If I see something that's not being done right or somebody not doing something right, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I'm going to open my mouth. And the justification for that was, well, we really needed somebody for the position. And so it was just easier to hire within or A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Only him?
And you already know the work history of this person.
Okay, let me read what she put up. She says she really always blamed the CEO for everything, even though I believe she was manipulating him too. That's a mess. She's just over here manipulating everybody, huh?
They don't have good work performance. And that's been shown time and time again. On top of that, this claim was filed against him. And that's promotion worthy? Okay.
Right.
Funny.
That should have disqualified him.
Holy Spirit just really was arresting me during that time. I'm just like, Lord, what's happening? And God was just like, let it play out. Don't say nothing. I need you to be as quiet as you can. I really wasn't being obedient because I was opening my mouth a lot more during this time. And God was just like, just be quiet. Be cool. like how I'm like, everybody else just be cool. God looking at me like, be cool. I got this. Just stop. Be quiet. And so long story short, finally a year later, an investigation is happening on the matter, which I can't even remember the situation that triggered this or that triggered her to spark an investigation on what I told you a year ago, but it finally happened. And I think honestly they were scared that I was going to sue or something. I'm like, y'all really be worried about the wrong people, even though I probably should have. And overall, honestly, it was just a BS investigation. So on their end, they could say that they did something in case I decided to retaliate. And there's just so many moving parts to this story. And there were several different conversations that happened that I'm really trying to keep this short, like seriously, because it's just too many moving parts. However, investigation happened. I had to talk to some people or whatever. And then I had to talk to the CEO and he made it seem like, oh, well, he gave him a real good talking to. And if he ever were to, display these actions again, then it's over for him. Which in my head, I'm just like, if this was your daughter, because she works here too, if this was your daughter and she brought this to you, he will be gone. And I know I'm not your daughter. However, now I'm looking at your character. and character flaw. Like what? And so after this, I had a few more conversations with old girl supervisor that um, I could tell she was just still trying to be cool. And on my end, I'm just like, nah, we're not cool. Like, I pray for you, I guess. Because the kind of relationship we were building was a spiritual one. But after seeing how all of that played out and how many times she kept playing in my face, because there was actually a final time where she played in my face. And I just cut zero communication with her. Like God was like, how many times do I gotta show you? How many times shall one play in your face for you to see that they are not for you? And I said, God, all right, you right. That's it. And she was one that was very manipulative with her words. Like, I truly believe she was manipulating everybody in that place. CEO, old boy, other supervisor. Like, narcissists like to come in as that person that is so perfect and just so, this is me and I'm genuine and this is ABCDFG, that representative. But God allows me to see past that representative, baby. And what I saw, like what God was showing me, I was like, wow, y'all got a bigger problem on y'all's hands. And it's called the spirit of Jezebel. Because, ugh. But at the end of the day, all of these people are in it together, which is why this dysfunction worked so well for them. So you got old boy that's the narcissist. Then you got old girl that's the narcissist. But she like the master manipulator, puppeteer over all of it. For real. And I'm going to tell y'all next the final straw that had me no contact with everybody. Part 5 coming.
I don't know if I would consider the chick a narc. She definitely has some things about her. Um, Possibly, like she said, even the spirit of Jezebel. But so the first guy, definitely a narc. I don't even know if I would consider the second guy from work a narc. He seems like he's just a weirdo. But I mean, I can't knock her experience. She went through it. But based on what I'm hearing, I don't think they're necessarily narcs. But let's get to the next part. Let's see what all she got to say. Maybe we missing something.
So this is part 5 of my experience with narcissists, continuation of the story that I'm telling about the workplace. Um, yeah. So I will say, even though the story started out with this man and all of that whole situation, I would say that his narcissism didn't really have a huge effect on me because that was just like, eh. It was really the betrayal that came from old girl that really blew me. Because like I said, me and her were actually developing a friendship. So I thought this whole time, I think she was really trying to manipulate me. Some people really want to get close to you because they see an anointing on your life or the demons in them. Let me just say that. Because like I said, it's still 75, 25. 25%, I think she probably needs to live. She just really needs to be set free. 75%, no, you're demonic. 25%, I think you cool. But, yeah, she was highly manipulative. Like, hindsight shows me how there will be different situations taking place and it was manipulation. Or there will be different conversations that she would have with me. And, ooh, girl, you're a gossiper. But you're also manipulative. Because why are you like this? And I had to repent for all the times that I did engage in gossip with her or the times where I didn't say anything back when she was gossiping because that just makes me as much as a part of it in God's eyes, you know? And for me, it's always been hard to develop friendships, but that's something that I've truly always wanted is friendship, and not from a shallow standpoint, but from a iron sharpens iron standpoint, from the friend that sticks closer like a brother, you know. Like from that standpoint, I've always wanted friends that I really have not experienced. And so God had to show me in that area. He's like, yeah, you still need maturing in this area because for the sake of trying to develop a friendship or relationship with somebody, you just going along with stuff that I didn't say. that you need to be engaged in this? What did I say in my word? Like, how are you supposed to be carrying yourself? You know, just stuff like that. And I was like, okay, God really dealt with me with this. Like, even though this was a test and this was an assignment, of course, He grew me through this. And so the final straw for me dealing with her was literally I would be very stressed at work because it seemed like other people had less of a load than I did. And that's simply because they just didn't want to do it. Like, I'll just, not I'll, but I'm just saying this is their point of view. I'll just sit on my phone and Relisha got it. That's literally how it was. And I'm dealing with all of this over here, and everybody else is just not being hands-on with what we're supposed to be doing. And I would share those grievances with her. I'd be like, hey, yo, you need to have a conversation with so-and-so, or hey, yo, so-and-so really don't be, like I said, if there's any injustice, I'm open my mouth. But within those times of sharing my grievances, she would try to manipulate me into thinking that it was a badge of honor to have this load, or to feel like, oh, we're just connecting with ABCDFG and you're just doing, such a great job, and what we do without you. No, you're being manipulative, because within me enduring all of this BS, it takes the load off of you. And it takes the load off of, it's like you enjoy seeing me suffer or hearing about me suffering. That's really what it was. And so, long story short, what led me to stop speaking with her completely was she had planned this day for me where I would go off the facility to this program. And it was a lot of different details in it, but it's whatever. She specifically made it seem like she had planned this for me. Let me just make that very clear. And so during that one day of the week, the way she planned it, it would just be kind of like a break. You go do this, ABCDEFG. They will be okay handling everything on site. You're good. I genuinely was hesitant because I know people's work ethic, and I know that they're not going to do ABCDEFG. So I'm like, we'll try the one day and see how it goes. That's literally how it was. We'll try. And if it just don't go, just don't go. So did the one day. It was cool. Honestly, it wasn't something that I needed. The program was not something that I needed. And to this day, I still don't think the program is something that I need. So it was the second time that I was going to try this program out, this plan that she formulated herself, right? And so she was like, well, he's going to be there too. Or however she put it. I can't remember this verbatim. But he, as in the guy that I put the report on, the SH report, yeah, she let me know. She was like, well, he's going to be there too. And anybody would be. Immediately, I was pissed. Because first of all, why? Second of all, why? Third of all, why are you playing in my face? And here she goes trying to justify and trying to, because it was a Christian-based program too. So, she was, well, are you trying to say that being manipulative? Like, I ain't agreeing no more. You're being manipulative. Being manipulative. Oh, so you're trying to say that everybody doesn't need Jesus? Yeah. Not only are you a narcissist, you're a spiritual narcissist. And for me, when there's an issue, it's always the bottom line. It is always the principle of the thing. I don't like the fluff. I don't like I'm direct. It's always the principle for me. Really, she was trying to manipulate her way out of this situation to give reasoning. And I just wasn't going for it because at this point, I really could see everything for what it was. So on the back end, God is always communicating with me. So he's always showing me stuff that I don't want to see. Sometimes he'll show me stuff that I do want to see. But most of the time, he's trying to put me up on game so that I'll be equipped against these forces that are in different places. So since I had already agreed to that day, I still went that day. And I was like, okay, cool. But after that, I was like, never again. Again, I have to leave out some details because some of the details involves kids, and it's just like I'm trying to really be intellectual about how I'm telling this story. And so what once was something specifically planned for me, she tried to do damage control and cover her tracks, and now it's something that's planned for the entire facility, which I thought that was real cute because I'm like, oh, cute girl, because you always gonna make sure that you good. You always gonna make sure ain't nobody looking at you crazy. because you knew you were wrong and you knew that I had every right to expose everything about this place, about you, about him. They had the right one. I'm just saying, they
Right.
had
The
the
right
right
one
one.
on a wrong day
And
or
so
on the
I
right
was
day,
done.
depending.
When Cold Turkey blocked everything, there's no reason why you should continue to be on your soapbox and text me outside of work. Blocked your numbers. We're not doing that. The guy had been blocked, so that ain't even nothing to talk about. And she discovered this, and I know she discovered this because after the fact, she was working overtime to conspire against me. When I say overtime, I mean the
Oh,
stuff that she was coming out with and saying and doing was absolutely ridiculous.
that's crazy.
Y'all, it's just so many details. But I'll just, long story short again, I'll say this.
That is
Um, she had
crazy.
fired somebody I had hired on with no notice. She didn't give them any notice. She had hired on the brother of said guy. After she said she would never
Mm,
hire this person, he's definitely unqualified. She had so many nasty things to say about the brother. On top of still saying nasty things about old boy who I filed the claim on. Yeah. She had a moment where she was trying to pop off at the mouth in the work chat at one point. Uh, and kicked me out of the work chat and tried to make it seem like, oh well, actually we're gonna do an investigation on my shift. We're gonna do an investigation on my shift. For what? Girl, I don't know. Intimidation, because that's what narcissists like to do. Um, all because I wasn't talking to her for real. And all because I stand for justice and right is wrong is wrong.
right.
That's literally all my responses have been: right and wrong is wrong for real. What you gonna do?
She's
And
mad
literally, she
manipulative.
dang near
That's
lost her
crazy.
mind. Over it's a lot of details that I'm leaving out, y'all. But just know these narcissists are getting very much so out of hand. Coming with the conclusion, and it's going to be a much shorter video in part six.
All right. She said she has, she's withholding a lot of info. So I'm gonna trust her when she say that, she's a narc. That chick is a narc because again, there's a lot we don't know, and she lived it, so she would know if she's willing to classify them as that. Then hey, maybe they are. She does exhibit some traits: the manipulation, the bullying when they don't get their way, or trying to intimidate. That's weird. That's real big weird behavior. But child, these people,
So this
they
is
wonder.
part six of my experience with narcissists, workplace edition,
Real quick, she said it was gonna be quick. This is just as long as the other videos, but we here for it.
and the continuation of the story that I've been telling. So yeah, she began to conspire against me in different ways. I truly believe there were so many behind my back conversations that were happening, probably too many for me to count, because just the different stuff that she was coming up with, it was just like, what are you doing? And of course, I didn't reach out because at the end of the day, I didn't care that much because I know the role that I played in all of this. I know my assignment coming here, what it was, and I didn't do anything. so, so yeah, initiated an investigation on my shift, kicked me out the work chat, but then tried to justify it and say, well, due to the investigation, now we have to have two separate, ways of communication because of whatever. Like, I was just like, okay. Um, definitely, definitely made it her mission to humble me. But that's something that I had peeped since I met her for real. But I never really said anything about it because I'm just like, I'm not gonna look too deep into it. It's okay. But again, hindsight is the best teacher. You see different scenarios and different situations that happened, and you're like, oh, this girl been trying to humble me since I got there. Okay. And just during all of this, God was like, don't even acknowledge it. Don't say anything. Don't communicate. Because, of course, I was getting pissed because I'm like, people who break their back and do the most for a company or you're really an asset, and they just look at you like you the villain or you the enemy because you don't want to surrender to their ego or surrender to their whatever it is. Like, I can't even find the words to describe it right now, but because you don't want to submit to them or submit to the bullcrap that they're doing, they just want to keep poking and prodding. And they want to be indirect about it because I can't show everybody my ugly spirit. I still have this representative over here to upkeep. But I'm going to keep doing stuff behind the scene. I'm going to be manipulative. I'm going to do this. I'm going to flex my license and see if I can do ABC because I can. And it's like, you don't think that God's seeing all of this? Because he did. When I tell y'all that God flipped it and reversed it without me saying a single thing, there was only a couple of things that I inquired about, and that was if I was fired. Because when I got kicked out of the chat, I'm like, I ain't got no, that fired me without saying something. Let me know. Let me know something. I inquired if I was fired, and I asked another supervisor that. And I asked something else. I can't remember right now. I just made a couple of inquiries, but did not directly expose the manipulative ways and the character of these people like I could have. Because God did it all for me. He immediately counteracted everything without me having a conversation with any of these people. And he showed me through subtle ways. He showed me through a few bigger ways. I don't know what these people got going on behind closed doors at home or whatever, or how he's dealing with them in what ways, because it's none of my business. But God's vengeance is always going to trump anything that we try to do, any justice that we try to seek. That's why God just kept saying, he had it. Even though I was on the sidelines like, Lord, let me know something, because these people pissing me off a little bit. Like,
He said, hush.
He's like,
hush.
And the ending of the
Somebody's
story is
calling my
immaculate, y'all.
name.
Like, God is constantly doing amazing things in my life to where when he says you got to forget all of that stuff, like even though he took you through that stuff to test you, to refine you, to teach you, to mature you in certain ways, it's only to prepare you for the promise that he has for you. And literally, I can't believe some stuff. God continues to provide. He continues to vindicate me, even when I don't even think that anybody is on my side. He continues to show me, I'm gonna make them on your side for this purpose right here.
I know
Even
that's
if
right.
it's just for 2 minutes, they're gonna be on your side right now. Like, it's hard to explain, but the fruit of my life shows his vindication every day. And I'm almost certain that God has humbled these people. Like I said, I don't know what ways. I mean, no one has reached out and said sorry or anything. So I know that that's a big spirit of pride that only God can deal with. I ain't got no for you but a prayer and to keep minding my business and doing what I'm doing, just allowing God to move in my life. And maybe you're in a situation like this, or maybe you're dealing with a narcissist right now. I need you to know that there is no force that's greater than God. There is no justice or vindication greater than God's vindication for your life.
Amen.
Literally, it hurts to have to be quiet and sit back and allow God to move. And sometimes we feel like he's not moving fast enough or moving the way we want him to move. And to be real, when I said in the story that a lot of it goes deeper than this, some details that I really left out intentionally because, again, we will be here for too long, but also it's just something that God has to deal with those people. Like, I really do feel like old girl is a witch. She might know that she's one, or she might be indirectly practicing witchcraft through her thoughts, through her words, through her actions. I don't know. Because some of the stuff she would be saying, I would be like, okay.
That's
However,
crazy.
I am a testament sitting here before you today to show you that there's no force greater than God. There is absolutely no force on this earth or anywhere greater than God in his power. If you pray to him, if you accept Jesus Christ into your life, let's start there. You accept the Holy Spirit. Literally, nothing can harm you. The weapons formed, they won't prosper. Okay? There's not enough manipulation. There's not enough smear campaigns. If somebody touching you though, like somebody physically harming you, you need to get up out of there. But you know what I'm saying? But there's not enough weapons forming that could prosper against God's protection, which is why it's so important to pray God's protection over your life every day.
Mhm.
It's so important to be in your word. It's so important to just surrender your life completely to God. First of all, you need to repent for even being in engaging with these type of people. I get sometimes, like I said, it is a test. God is trying to test you. Satan will send a narcissist too. You have to have the discernment to know which one it is, though, because God still uses whatever Satan is doing as a test too. Read the book of Job. Just saying, but you just
Mhm.
really have to be discerned. I like to say, know when the party's over. Know when your assignment is up, and you can move on. And God will make it very clear to you. Like I said, if you're in tune with God, He will show you. Trust me. God has given me dreams upon dreams, just not about the workplace. He gave me the dreams about the people. He gave me the dreams about the exit. So it's not,
Mm.
you just have to be in tune with God to know when it's done. I feel like I have more narcissistic stories, but I'm going to stop here right now because the common ending in these is that you win. And I'm just, like I said, I'm a testament to show you that you win. So if you need any advice, hit me in the DM, send me an email. I'll probably put my email on here somewhere. Just send me a DM and we'll talk or whatever. But you got it. Don't worry about these people. They are just miserable people who are allowing demons to use their body as a vessel to cause chaos on this
Mhm.
earth. However, it's a fixed fight. We already win. So, yeah, this is probably the final part, unless I think of something else that I really need to like get off my chest. But yeah, thanks for sitting in and listening to the story times. And yeah, I'll see y'all later.
Yeah, she's a wise one. I like her. Um I love how she learned from her lesson, and not only did she learn, but she roped it in with God. She took the good from it. That's where a lot of us go wrong. We look at situations, and yeah, I'm sure the bad might outweigh the good sometimes, but we'll still focus on the bad, just like solely. And even in situations sometimes when the good outweighs the bad, we'll look at that one speck of bad and hone in on it and try to make it the biggest thing ever. But when you're in line with God, when you're in tune with him, he will speak to you. Like she said, she was God told her to read Nehemiah, and it was exactly what she needed to know, like it's time to get up out of here. So I think that's dope, child. Open your eyes, open up your ears to listen, to hear what God has to say to you, because he'll tell you. Sometimes we be our own worst enemies thinking we got it. And so when we be in these predicaments, then we get mad because then we're like, well, why God let this happen? Because you have free will and he tried to tell you, but you wanted to do things your way, right? So here we are. So I think this was a good story time. I truly enjoyed it. I like that she also is willing to help people who may be in this situation. I told y'all in one of my story times before, I see comments where it's like people are trying to stop people from giving their testament or giving their story as to what happened in their life, um their their story, their truth. And I think this is a perfect place to open up and speak, because a lot of times people they sit because they think they're the only ones going through it. So by telling a story, like I told y'all earlier in the story, I'm like, dang, this sounds just like the other guy. You know what I'm saying? Like from the show I used to cover. So it just shows like a lot of people go through the same things, but when you live in isolation, or if you isolate yourself and don't talk to anybody or are afraid to talk about it, which most of us tend to be, especially when it's your personal business, you think you're the only one going through it. And that's how the devil loves to corner you. He wants to corner you so you feel alone. Then you go through about a depression. Then, you know what I'm saying? Other thoughts may come, and, oh, you're not loved, you're not wanted, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, I think this is dope that she did this story time. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this story time in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.
Listen, I like chocolate girl, all shades, different flavors. She a diamond and a pearl. She a goddess with a mentor, yeah. Cinnamon swirl. She relate to what I've been through, yeah.